Marco Rubio is not messing around. He lays down the law. Global elitists are absolutely worried. They're shitting themselves. Let's get right into this video.
I've said this repeatedly. I don't know why it's so hard for some to comprehend it, so let me repeat it again. A visa, no one's entitled to a visa. There is no constitutional right to a visa. Okay, a visa is a permission to enter our country as a visitor. If you enter our country as a visitor, and as a visitor in our country, be it a student, a tourist, a journalist, whatever you want to be, and you undertake activities that are against the national interest and national security of the United States, we will take away your visa. In fact, if we knew you were going to do it, we probably wouldn't have given you your visa.
Holy smokes. I mean, it's not really that complicated, but now that we're just so used to retardation being on the airwaves, when common sense makes its way in front of our screens, it actually sounds pretty refreshing.
The decision to remove someone from our country after we take away our visa, that belongs to other agencies of our government. As far as judges are concerned, judges, that's a different branch of government. They're not going to tell us how to conduct the foreign policy of the United States. If they have an issue with the process by which someone was removed, then obviously that's an issue for other agencies in our government that are involved in enforcing that. All I can opine to you on is taking away someone's visas. And no judge is going to tell the executive branch how to conduct foreign policy, because that's not up to judges. That's up to the executive branch.
Yeah, and that's, up to the president of the United States, ultimately, if he's deciding one way or another that people's visas are going to be removed for, criminal activity. It can go all the way up to him, and he can override it, or he can have the final say.
Look, my job at the State Department is, if I identify someone who I believe is present, someone who's a visitor, a guest to the United States, and we identify that their presence in our country poses a threat to our foreign policy, to our national security, we're gonna take that person's visa away. We're gonna take their visa away. That's what we're gonna do.
Man, I think that this is it's going to happen to so many people. I think it's going to happen to Canadians, to be honest, because Canada is choosing to, cozy up to China and stuff like that. Like, it's just getting super weird, man. Holy smokes. I love this. I love the fact that America is protecting its borders and protecting its moral values.
Under President Trump, it is our expectation that every nation on earth is going to act in their national interest. That's what nations are supposed to do. If the Prime Minister of Hungary does not act in the national interest of Hungary, he won't be Prime Minister for long. But who's going to act in the national interest of Hungary if their Prime Minister doesn't do it? If your government is not acting in your national interest, then who will? By the way, we feel the same way about America. So in those instances in which our national interest and some other countries' national interests are aligned, that is an opportunity for extraordinary partnership. And we have many, many areas where our national interests are aligned. Where they're not aligned, or where we have some differences, that's where that alignment and the other issues, that's where this relationship, that's where these deep ties to one another are so important, because that's where you can find accommodation.
Oh my God, man. I love this administration. I think everybody needs to really start to learn to like this, because this is so common sense. This is going to make America better than ever. Oh, man.
The president always prefers peaceful outcomes and negotiated outcomes to things. He's a president that's shown his willingness to talk to anyone and meet with anyone. And I think if there's an opportunity here to diplomatically reach an agreement that addresses the things we're concerned about, we would be very open and welcoming to that. But I don't want to overstate it either. It's going to be hard. I mean, we're dealing, it's been very difficult for anyone to do real deals with Iran, because we're dealing with radical Shia clerics who are making theological decisions, not geopolitical ones. But let's see what happens. I hope it works out. We all hope it works out.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it, because a lot of what he's saying, a lot of what Trump is saying are the same type of thoughts, it's similar trains of thought that you and I have, that normal people have, that common sense people have. But for some reason, in the game of politics, that train of thought, when it gets carried up into a political situation, it gets weirdly diluted and regurgitated differently. The thing that's so good about Marco Rubio and Trump and most of the people in the administration, to be honest, is that they're saying pretty much exactly what you and I are thinking, how you and I are thinking it, and it's coming across as like this messiah type of, verbiage. Like, oh my God, these people are like so unique. They're amazing people, but what they're saying, how they're saying it, it's just like how you and I are thinking it. If we were sitting around a campfire, having a dart, having a beer, we'd be talking shit like this, right? But they're saying it in suits on the global stage, and I think that's what makes it so good. And to be honest, this is how politics should have always been, and I hope it stays this way for a very long time.
You know, in my time observing geopolitics, when a president tries to engage himself in peacemaking and in ending wars, that's usually applauded. So this is one of the few times, for a lot of different reasons, I don't know what they may be, but maybe I can speculate what they are, where people actually criticize a president trying to end a war. Usually when you're trying to end wars, the international community applauds you. This is one of the few wars I've ever seen where some people in the international community condemn you for trying to help end a war. But that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're going to continue to do as long as our role is in our engagement is a positive one, and hopefully the war will end.
Yeah, it's a Trump derangement syndrome. All the people that are upset that you guys are trying to end a war, I mean, they're just cuckoos anyways. They would be upset if President Trump solved world hunger, solved cancer, solved all of the world's problems in one stroke of the pen or one wave of a magic wand. Because they'd be like, well, why didn't he do it earlier? They would just find reasons to literally complain about anything.
All we are trying to do is play a role if it's possible in reaching a deal. We're not seeking to impose a deal on anybody. We're not trying to force anyone to take a deal they don't want to take. We just want to help them because we think it's a war that's incredibly damaging. We think it's a war that's incredibly destructive. We think it's a war that never should have happened and should end as soon as possible. That's how the president feels, and the president's invested a tremendous amount of time and political capital in trying to serve a useful purpose. The only comment is the United States' interest is to see the war end, and we want to do what we can to make it end. We're the only nation on earth that apparently can get both sides to the table to talk. I'm not here to insult anybody, but the United Nations hasn't been able to do it. There's no other country in Europe that's been able to do it. The United States has been successful at being able to get both sides to talk. I mean, for the first time, I don't know, in a number of years, you actually have at a technical level military officials from both sides sat down last week in the Middle East, and we'll restart those talks again in Geneva later this week. I want to thank you on behalf of the President of the United States for the indispensable role you played on the Board of Peace. Not everyone's on the Board of Peace, and not everyone, for different reasons, they can be participants or not be participants, but you are, and you've been there from the very first day. And again, a testament to the personal relationship between President Trump and Prime Minister Orban that I think speaks volumes. The role you play geopolitically, the role you play even outside of this region in affairs involving the Middle East is invaluable and indispensable, and we are very appreciative of it. President Trump is deeply committed to your success because your success is our success, because this relationship we have here in Central Europe through you is so essential and vital for our national interests in the years to come that, if you face financial struggles, if you face things that are impediments to growth, if you face things that threaten the stability of your country, I know that President Trump will be very interested because of your relationship with him and because of this importance of this country to us, just finding ways to provide assistance if that moment ever were to arise, and obviously with regards to the finances and the like. I also think it's the reason why in your visit in November you saw an extension and a suspension of the imposition of sanctions and allowed to move forward on energy. It was because of that personal relationship. It's because we want you to continue, because we want this economy to prosper. We want this country to do well. It's in our national interest, especially as long as you're the prime minister and the leader of this country. It's in our national interest that Hungary be successful. It helps America, and obviously it helps you.
I mean, this is the classic example of you're only as strong as your weakest link. And right now, there are so many weak links that are connected to the United States, that are allies with the United States. Canada is one. Most of Europe is one. United Nations, NATO, pretty much everybody is really weak. And when it comes down to it, when we talk about superpowers in the world, I think that Russia is kind of being phased out. I think that Russia is no longer really being considered. I know they got a heavy nuclear arsenal and, Navy and whatnot and lots of tanks, but they're not really. I mean, if they were a superpower, why are they struggling with Ukraine so much? I mean, that war's been going on for like 4 years. Like, come on. I mean, America wouldn't be struggling with Ukraine for 4 years like that, right? I think the superpowers coming up is just China and the United States. I think it's going to come down to that split. And I think you're going to see a lot of divisions in the world. And a lot of countries are going to have to pick a side. And if you're either with the United States or you're against it, and I would not be willing to bet against the United States, and any country willing to bet against the United States is probably going to be on the receiving end of ultimate finding out.
I think it depends on the situation. I've said from day one that, you know, we need to flood the zone in sanctuary cities with additional agents. The number of agents depend on the situation on the ground, how many known criminal targets are out there, because we know we have a problem in sanctuary cities, because we know they're releasing public safety threats in the public. So rather than arrest that one criminal in jail, one agent arresting one criminal alien in the safety and security of a jail, which is safer for the agent, safer for the alien, safer for the community, they release them in the street. Now we got to send a whole team or 6 or 7 people. That is the win we had in Minnesota, everybody, because now we have agreements and coordination with jails. We can rest that public safety threat and the safety and security of jail, which means we don't have to send 6 or 7 people out to look for them. So I'm hoping other sanctuary cities look at what happened in Minnesota and how we got to the place red, which I think is a good place. I hope more people pay attention to that, and we work with these states to let our officers into jail. You can't, a lot of politicians are out there on the left or the Democrats saying, okay, ICE, we agree. You should be focusing on public safety threats. You should be focusing on illegal aliens who have committed serious crimes in this country. But they lock us out of the jail. You can't square that. If you really want us to focus on the criminals, then let us into jail. That's the safest, most secure place to do our work.
I mean, that makes sense. It's hard to disagree with that. Factually, very correct. And I think they're going to get their way eventually. They just got to keep poking at it.
Look, the president called me and asked me to go to Minnesota and asked me to get up there that same day, and I went up there. I just did things the way I've done for 40 years. And I know a lot of people questioned, why are you meeting with the governor? Why are you meeting with the attorney general and Mayor Fry? I've always been, you can't fix problems talking in an echo chamber. You got to talk to the people that you may disagree with. People have a different opinion on how you're doing it. I want to hear. I want to see what do you see as the issue? Why do you not agree with certain aspects of the operation? That's how you, in my experience, that's how you fix problems. You don't fix it in an echo chamber. So I met with them, and look, we came out. I think it's safer in Minnesota, it's safer in Minneapolis, because now we have coordination with the jails that we didn't have before. And the criminal aliens, that everybody agrees, I think, even most of the Democrats, that, you know, we agree too. Criminal aliens should be something ICE focus on. You can't say that and not let us in the jails. You can't square that, but I've gotten agreements in Minnesota I never thought we'd be able to get. So the operation ended. We arrested, you know, a lot of people there, and over 4,000 arrests. And I looked at the numbers just this morning, Jake. There's over 14 committed, you know, arrested that were charged with homicide. You know, there's 180 sexual offenses, and so, you know, we took a lot of bad people off the street. So I think Minnesota, Minneapolis is safer because of it.
Dude, is that a statue? Who the hell is the guy on the left from CNN? Why isn't he moving? Why is he doesn't know what to say? Look, this guy worked for Obama. He's now working for Trump. He's getting stuff done. And the left, just like you're seeing right now on screen, CNN, jaw to the floor, speechless. They don't know what to say. They're trying to get the cogwheel going in their brain to attack them, to have some sort of comeback. And it's not working because they can't do it. But that's the video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys had a phenomenal weekend and are set up for a phenomenal week. If you did enjoy the video, hit the like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all later. Bye for now.